So if you're like most of us, content's getting a little stale. I decided to start playing with mods. This is what I've built, but I will go over to the test server and show you what, or how rather, I've done it. This was just, there was no cheats or anything for this. It was just a time-consuming matter, but I used the mod in order to do things like change the angle of ceilings or floors. You'll see a lot of it. I'll show you as I go. But this has been a lot of fun. It actually breathed a lot of life back into the game for me. Gave me something to do. I'll show you guys what I've done. I started by clearing a 16 by 16 area roughly. I'm just going to build a little diamond pattern out of it. Come on. Okay. I think I've gotten a little carried away on my size. Next step would be adding a border correctly. So if I want to do a border, this is where the first part of the mod comes in. Getting the first one set up just right. And then I'll hit F1. And I'll raise it just a little bit. Actually, you can raise it as much as you want to. I'm holding Alt and hitting up arrow. But I'm just going to give it a little bit of an offset. And we'll just follow that around. Just enough height to give it a little character. Just a little character. Give you something a little unusual, not ordinary, I guess. I won't bore you with the details of going back and filling in each one of these little spots and all the way, little triangles missing all the way around. We'll skip to the next scene. After you're done filling all the little chinks in, sometimes, and it only happened on one wall on the other build, probably will on this one too. Yeah. So you get these little diamond patterns that stick out from the edge. It's going to happen on 2 on this one. So I just followed that around with another border. And if you look at the build I started, or I started showing you guys, it's exactly what I did in that one as well. As you can see, these little triangles sticking out from the corner over there. That's all I'm doing, is covering those. just throw a corner piece down these. Excuse me. Give it a little support. We can go out and level the ground later and clean that up. So that's the foundation. Now let's start building the structure. Obviously you can make it any size you want, but mine is about 9 by 11, somewhere around there. Now this is the only thing that I say is extremely important. If you take these poles, these iron, and set them on top of top of block, you'll see that they're green. However, if you take and put them in the ground, you'll see they're blue. That means they're touching foundation. So, trick is kind of to get the depth enough to where, and when you've got all your foundations in place, and you set your pole, you should be able to get down below this holding shift, overlap them just so. And now it's blue. Now you can remove this one. And you start off blue. The only reason that's important is if you're going for much higher heights, which I'm not. My poles are only 7 on one end and 9 on the other, something like that. So there's no real need to go to this length. But if you ever decide to go much higher, then you're going to want it to make sure you're attached directly to the foundation or directly to the ground. So let's take these up. It's 6 in the front and 9 at the rear, I believe. just going to square this off. Notice that pole was orange. If I'd put that in the foundation, I would have done a whole lot better. Alright, what we got going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to square this off. How that came off, I'm not sure. But I'm not doing the exact build over again. I'm just giving you guys a rough idea of what I did. So to get the slope proof was just these. Now, there's a really good video. This is actually, I get this idea from somebody else who makes videos. If you were to build a roof out of just, I believe this is where I want to go, out of just floor tiles, you're not going to get the rested bonus because you're not going to be considered inside of a structure, or under a roof rather. So to get around that, all you have to do is build a roof inside of a structure and cover it up. So let's throw a couple of cross members in here. And some floor tiles down. Generally when I build, I try to make sure everything stays green or no more than yellow. But on this structure, I just want to do something different. So I made it where there's a lot of orange. I don't believe there's any red in my original building, but there is some orange. So we're going to throw walls up. That must be where that falls off. Now this is where what I said I learned from another YouTuber. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing. I like the fact that most people don't build with eaves, and I really like eaves. So I'm gonna change that. This was also his idea, and I thought it was actually pretty good. Come on. Do a couple of supports in here. Before the end of this video, I'll get the name of the guy that I copied for this part. And give him credit, he deserves it. If you don't know about Peeker's advantage, most games consider you to be right-handed, so they will give you a little more edge over your right-hand shoulder than they do your left. So if I were to try to do the same thing from this side, more than likely I'm not going to be able to see it. Oh, I can. Oh, it might be cut down. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see it. But if I were to come around on this side, see that? It's what you call Peeker's advantage. You can actually see further over the right shoulder than you can the left. Here again, I'm using Peeker's advantage. And the reason I'm not flying for most of this is to show you how I can get where I can actually do the same thing on a regular server. So a lot of these guys do this building from a test server like this, and it's almost impossible to duplicate without crazy ass scaffolding and just going way out of your way. But you can see this isn't all that difficult. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a link to the guy's video in this description below this, just to make sure he gets full credit. Seems like a lot of the YouTubers now are just going and watching other people's videos and then coming out with their version of the exact same thing. FireSpark88 is famous for that. I showed how to fight in the plains using the ground as a defense, and about 2 weeks later he came out with the exact same video. And I've seen other YouTubers do the same thing. They'll come up with something that's unique and he'll copy it. So now you'll understand the reason for this outside edge. What's inside the house is actually below me, and this is a eave on the outside of it. So we're going to put some roof tiles on here. So you don't have to cover the outside edge, but this will actually consider you closed in or under shelter. Even though these gaps are here, technically they overlap, just like they would on your roof. That one, I may have missed that actually. Yeah, it did. And I won't bother taking it all back out just because it's the same thing. Now I'm going to close this in, but he used half walls. And technically his would be better, except for he had to add 2 rails on top of it in order to get the height to clear this, and I'll show you what I mean. That's barely enough to keep the thatch from sticking through. So you can save yourself a step just by going like this and doing full walls. But then again, part of his his shtick is that he comes up with unique builds. And if you look at this, it looks like every other build that you've seen with the flat walls versus a half wall and 2 rails on top of it. So he does come up with something very unique. I like that. So we close this in. Missed it. He also added supports below. I'll have to use the 1 meter. It keeps those from going red like you just saw that one, which is a good idea. I don't think he did anything wrong. But the point of this now is that I can get shelter bonus. I might have to have walls in. Yeah, I'm going to have the walls as well. But you can get a shelter bonus because that is a roof now. So I'm going to do this a little at a time in a few different pieces, because this is an awful long build. I'll go ahead and clean this up, and I'll probably go ahead and do like he did here. I'll finish that off all the way around, just to show you the difference and we'll come back to you. So I've gone ahead and made the corrections to where it looks more like his build, which is far more unique. As well as started the rafters beside me, you can see. And I am flying just to sake of time type of thing. I don't need to make a 2-hour video on explaining a lot of the stuff that you guys probably already know. This is the outside of it and his better idea. So it's not just a plain Jane wall. It's a half wall and then 2 of the borders, or 2 of the straight beams on top of that. The nice part about, you see the beams are orange or even red, but everything that attaches to metal becomes blue again. So technically all of this is strong enough. If you really wanted to, you could add a support in the down direction like this to the ground, or at least to a cross member. But you've still got to run across this way. So no matter what, if you don't go all the way to the ground, then you're kind of screwed. So it's pretty cut and dry from this point. Just going to add a 45-degree roof on it. Not perfect, but it works. Yeah, still don't have the shelter bonus, so it must be the walls. So, from there, the second part that you saw, or the building that extended out this way, was actually a completely separate building that was just added on afterwards. Or as an afterthought. Come on now. So I'll begin closing this in a little bit and give you guys progress update, but for the most part pretty simple. I've actually got that ceiling, I believe, 2 tiles higher than the one I built on my own server, or on the public server, I believe. But it's just a massive project. I'll get into the pond and all that, the swimming pool and all that stuff as well. But this will probably be a 2 or 3 part series anyway. I'm not sure that I'm teaching anybody anything, but I may give somebody a unique perspective that they can carry over to their own server. We'll come back with more. And this will be the ceiling of the first floor, obviously, and the floor of the second floor. This mod, which by the way is called Valheim Plus, allows you to change a lot of the interactions in the game, one of those being the reach that I have for building. You see, I can actually slam tiles up here far out of my normal reach. I can also remove. So that's a nice advantage too. After you've done everything in the game that you can possibly do, all the 5 bosses are dead, you've built yourself a couple of bases, then you're looking for something a little more different because you still like to play the game. And there's a few different options. I don't know if you guys noticed that I boxed off my ceiling in my house, but if you don't like seeing any of this, there's a simple fix for that too. Get the tile about like you want it, and hit F1, and now I can actually rotate that tile to be the exact opposite and have a smooth ceiling. Now before I lock that in, I hit the number pad 7, and that saves the position of that tile. So now when I go to do the next one, let's just go from the edge here. I hit F1 and number pad 8, and it flips it for me. F1, number pad 8. And I can go through and parquet these. Of course, it'd be a little more difficult because you got to change it every time. You'd have to do your checkerboard pattern and then come back with the opposites directions. I mean, but a lot of people don't like the look of ironwood. I actually do, but for my house on this particular build, I went ahead and changed everything to where you can't see any of the ironwood. Same thing here, just flip it over. Then I'll show you guys nice little ways to trim it out and make it look better. The part I like about Valheim Plus as well is I hit F1, then I can actually walk around and look at it before I set it in place. So if you ever set a forge or anything like that, you're too close to the wall, damn it, pull it off. Too far from the wall, damn it, pull it off. Forgot to flip that one, didn't I? See how you can walk around it? Anything that you wanted to plant. Let's say for instance this. Then I'll go ahead and flip it on end. Then I want to make sure it's set just right. I can actually walk around it and see if that's what I want. Now if I hit the flip, that's the exact opposite of what it was, or exact same that it was up there. It doesn't matter that it's on the ground. So trimming this out, let's say you just want to cover up everything. There's a couple of cool ideas you can do, and the Valheim Plus is going to help on that as well. I'm just trying to cover things up. But you want it to look a little different. See, I've got one snap point there. But what if I hit F1 and let's say set it out just a little bit, then maybe even a little higher. Now on these particular beams, they'll continue to follow the same pattern. I don't have to keep hitting F1 and numpad 8. So it gives your build just a little more depth. And all the ironwood's covered. If you've got programmable keyboard or mouse, you could probably set a little macro to do this for you automatically. It's probably what I would do if I were ever to do a very large area. Sun is killer. Nope. As soon as you hit the F1, see how it's bouncing like that? As soon as you hit the F1, it's safe. Now you can do whatever you want to. And F1 is just the default key. You can change that to whatever you want. Something didn't look right there. Fortunately, the game doesn't account for weight, so you can literally make these floors 3 foot thick if you wanted to. Wouldn't affect the structural integrity at all. Nope, screwed something up, didn't I? Yep, I can see it there. Still. Probably when I'm looking down at the keyboard, instead of typing without looking, it's flipping on me and I'm not paying attention. So that looks a little better. It's not your typical ceiling. If you want, you can go back and add squares to it. Just give it some outline or some character. More depth. The more detail you put in it, the better it's going to look. Technically on with Valheim Plus, you should be able to really come up with some unique ceiling ideas or floor ideas. Let's see if we can line this up a little better. So you could do like a star pattern from the center of your ceiling. Let's raise it up just a little bit. Raise it up, there you go. Let's save that, and then all we've got to do is rotate it. Raise it up just a little bit. I'm not going to try to get it perfect, but you guys get the idea. You could do some really unique things if you wanted to, just change it around. Now, let's go another step further and see if we can make that a little cleaner. Wished you could turn that dot off. Instead of sinking this one in, we'll make it protrude a little bit. Snap another one up to it. No, should have done a little better than that. Slide that down just a little bit, keeping it inside the lines. Now snap one to that. Get them about the same height. So you see how much time you could actually put into this if you wanted to. It's just a matter of how much time do you want to spend on it. Of course, the more you put in it, obviously the better it's going to look. It's not perfect, it's just throwing something together. We're going to give you some ideas of what you can do with the mod itself. I did walls. I'll throw some down real quick just for something different. They're almost unnoticeable, but I'll show you what I did. Just throw a couple of small logs in here. Probably a little bigger than that, but this will give you the idea. Yeah, that's going to be too wide. You just don't want. That's alright. We'll stop there. And again, this is just thrown together just to show you guys what I've done so far. So let's get rid of that, or close it off, make it look a little better anyway. Just closing the gap here so it doesn't look so obvious. I took and made a rug out of Lux rug. Then I hit F1 and I rotated this rug and made a screen. Doesn't stop you. Well, technically that one's not big enough. Let's get rid of these. Doesn't stop you from going through or anything. But it's unique. Something different. Yeah, I could have centered that a little better, but you get the idea. If you didn't notice at my house, and I kind of threw mine up as well just to see what I thought about them, I put these on all the downstairs windows of my house, and some of them aren't quite overlapping. You see some gaps in them. I just threw it together. So, let me show you another trick that I did. Most people have a small little area for their comfort to get your rested bonus. Let me show you what I did. I hid mine. And this is just the rough version, so I can not holding you guys forever. Actually didn't make this wall this low. I think I made it much higher, or yeah, much shorter. The stone fireplace won't place on a wood floor, but it will place on a steel beam. they call it sticking through the front of the house, but it'll still give you the idea. Yeah, it's sticking through the front of the house. It's okay. You get the idea. So I boxed in this area. Put my fireplace in. Nice. Lots of fog, just what I needed. I don't remember if I went 1 or 2 high. I may have gone 2. But the best part was because the building is so tall, you couldn't see any of it from the ground. Also with the mod, you can set fires and torches and all to never run out of fuel. So because this is boxed in, and obviously I did a much better job than this. Because this is boxed in, or closed off completely, with the mod, fire never goes out. Then, up in this area, I put the throne, I put everything you could think of, even the king's bed, everything. Just stacked it all on top of each other. Put a chair up here, put a table up here, put a chest up here, anything that'll give you a banner, anything that gives you the rested bonus. Oh yeah, you gotta have rugs. And for some reason I had to have both rugs. The Locks rug alone didn't give us the highest one. So then I closed this all in where none of it could be seen, but you get the rested bonus. Never have to refuel the fire, never have to... Oh, you can also increase the range that your items can be from you in order to gain the rested bonus. So I changed that to like 30 yards, which covers my whole house. Let's change the time. There we go. So then you can go do the same thing with this, like a ceiling down I did down below. Make it pretty. Cover it up. No smoke in the house. And the reason I did put that chimney in is because there's not quite enough clearance. You don't have to have a chimney per se. You have to have plenty of room for the smoke to rise to get away from the fire, which is about 3 tiles high. If you've got 3 tiles for the smoke to rise, then it'll dissipate before it comes back down and chokes out the fire and stops the fire, keeps it going in and out constantly. So that nasty thing that I built there isn't visible from the ground. You have to go actually quite a long ways out. That's just a piece of wood stuck up there. You actually have to go a long ways out in order to see that. So there from the side it's worse, but I also have large trees around me. Let's throw a couple of oak trees down. I need a cultivator. There it is. Let's throw oak sapling down. These take about 30 seconds to grow. They're the largest of the trees, so I like to use those. And they'll grow in any biome. And they have about everything. You can grow blueberries, you can grow anything. The only one I haven't seen yet is the beech tree. It's a beech or birch that gives you the, there you go. Watch these come up. There's another one. And another one. There you go. So technically you wouldn't be able to see that roof at all unless you're up high like this. And the trees is weird. They come in all different sizes. You might get a small one like this, or you might get a giant one. I actually don't see. Yeah, this one's pretty. Yeah, these are pretty good size. This is the kind of stuff that's keeping me interested in the game. Till they come out with a Hearth and Home, and I'll probably disable all my mods. I have archery, better archery. This one with the trees. My wife picked this one up tonight. I don't even know what the name of it is. Valheim Plus. And I believe that's it. I can't think of any others. You can do pretty much everything you want with Valheim Plus except the trees, so obviously we had to pick that one up. Better archery, it's okay. It's still got a lot of issues, but they're also part of the issues are the game itself. It doesn't allow for a lot of changes, especially on the accuracy. But I do like the fact that I have the extra 3 slots down here for my bow or for my arrows. Any of these mods that allow you to have extra slots, I've only seen 1 or 2 that actually say it. If you die, everything in those slots disappears. Or if there's a patch, there's a good chance that everything will disappear. So don't throw anything in there that you don't want to lose. So let me get rid of all the trees, and I'll continue on with the build, and we'll do some more stuff. I went back and checked just out of curiosity. I did only make this 1 high. After cleaning up this nasty mess that I made, it looks a little better. Oops. And except for those 2 that aren't matching up right, you can see now that the roof isn't exactly noticeable. Unless you're a pretty good ways off. And like I said, if you've got trees, obviously it's not so bad either. It's not even visible from the sides. Alright, so what else can I show you? Something I like about Valheim Plus is being able to turn something into something else. Now this is not easy, and I'll show you why, and I'll show you how to make it much easier. But you see there are 3 snap points here. Well, you can see 2. There's those 2 and the one outside. And sometimes you'll find that 2 of them are right next to each other. And if you're doing 30 tiles of fence, it can become a real challenge to hit the same one all the time. So I'm just showing you real quick making this fence, and it does get much easier once you use something that's more consistent. Get on down there. There you go. So doing it like this, you're relying on the same. See those 2? And if you're not paying attention, you could hit the wrong one. As a matter of fact, I don't remember which one I started with. So we'll try that one. Hit F1. Nope, I didn't save it, did I? Okay. Hit F1. Rotate it up where I want it. Bring it up to where I want it. And you'll find out real quick on a long line that you can get off pretty easily. So let's save it this time. Keep hitting the wrong button. Damn it. See the marks right here that my arrows or my pointers on? That's kind of what I go by to try to keep it consistent. And once again, I didn't save it. I'm getting good at this. Doesn't matter, I'm just showing you briefly. But my point is, setting up a bottom row like this makes life a lot easier, simply because the snap points are reduced. So you'll see I have a snap point here, and that's it. So now I know I'm going to be pretty consistent as long as I stay on that side of the board. So I hit F1, I'll rotate this up the way it should be, I'll raise it up, and like I said, this does get much easier. Now, if you look at the back of this board, try to keep yourself a reference point. Look at the back of the board. I try to make the back of this line up with the back of the board. And you can make the front of this line up with the back of the board. You can make the front of this line up with the front of the board. It doesn't matter. Just use the same point all the time. And then I also try to raise it up to where it's just off the ground. Like there. And then I'll lower it back. Just to where it touches. Because if you set something in a place that's not touching the ground, it will just disintegrate right after. So that's pretty close. Let me show you this. Well, let me set that one first. I'll save it, I'll set it, I'll throw a post on it. There's 2 ways to look at an object, and depending on which way you're looking at it will also depend on which way that it moves. So I'll hit F8, or I'm sorry, keypad 8. I'll raise it up. Now, standing directly behind it, my forward and back keys move forward and back. Side to side remain the same. If I let go, if I hit the control key, it moves directly forward and back. If I let go of it, it raises it up and down. Now, if I'm looking at it from the side, if I hold my control key, it moves it forward and back, but at an angle at the same time. That's with my key held, that's without my key held. So you see, this could get a little jinxy, a little wonky, but what I like to do, I got my height set about right. I'll stand behind it. I'll back it up to about the same spot. I'll check these two. It needs to be raised just a little and maybe moved over just a little. Now you're not going to get them dead even, but after a while you'll build a routine and it goes much faster and you'll know about how many clicks you need to get it to where your next spot is. So let's see if we can do this one a little quicker. Get it on my snap point, hit F1, numpad 8. Now I do mine from the side. So I do this, holding down, letting go. Holding down, letting go. And if I'm a little off that much, I'll go ahead and look at it from the back and just back it up where I need it. So it can go fairly quick. Let's move that up just a little bit. A little more. And I'll set it. You can also do this with the ladders or with the stairs, but I just like to look at the stairs better. So hit F1. Back it down a little bit. Nope, forgot to put a post in here. Oh well, this one won't get a post. See, that's sometimes as close as you can get. You can really screw around with this thing for a while and you might get closer, but it's not an exact science. That's even worse. Anyway, you get the idea. This is pretty much the same fence. And this took me 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. Not too far off. I didn't try to get it exact, but after a while you build a little pattern of how many clicks you're going to need. This is built out of the steps, the skinny steps. You got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, or if you use the poles, you can do 1, 1, 1. Just to give you a rough idea. But it looks better than the typical fence. I kind of like it. Now you probably saw this in the video initially when I was showing my house. I probably spent, and it took me a long time to get the hang of it at first. And after one side was done, it got a lot easier. But I didn't put this bottom rail down on the first side. And if you, even here, you look and you see it's just a little off on that, not this post, but the very next one in, because I wasn't paying attention. I may have hit the front side at this snap point instead of the back side. But the one at the house, actually you can see the fence bow around this way and then come back this way. I mean, it's only a couple of inches difference, but probably as much as this. It's not anything unbelievable. But then on the other two sides, I started snapping these down, and it made my job a whole lot easier. But one more thing to play with Valheim Plus. Not promoting it or anything. Just if you guys are looking for something different. Oh, that was another thing too. If, for instance, let's say the ground drops off. Actually, it does drop off right here. So let's go ahead and build. Now this is going to be completely freehand because obviously I don't have the post, but that should be pretty close. Not too shabby. So I'll set that and I'll put a post on it. And now I'm going to put another one down in the exact same spot. See if that works. So technically you can extend these fences for as far as you need to. And it'll make up for the gaps in the floor. You can see I'm a little off. I should have been more forward on that one. But you get the idea. Just makes for something different. Let's see what else I got. Oh, somebody used something similar. It wasn't steps as blinds in their house. And that looked pretty cool too. Let's see what else I can find for you guys. I'll show you guys real quick what I was talking about. You can see where it kind of bows in. It's kind of bowed in here. Then it runs out. If you look at the flooring down below, you can really tell it. It's just not consistent. This is the first side that I did that took so long. And I didn't put, you can see it's out far there. I didn't use that, basically what I would consider a starter strip. And on the front side, I think I did this half without it, and then I figured it out on the second half. But that didn't turn out terrible. Now you can see this side, nice and straight. And it may not be perfect, but it's a whole lot better. This one looks like it bows out there to the left, just a little bit towards the end. Oh, and that's where I started getting into steps, so that's probably why. But here's where I extended the bottoms. And even these aren't perfect. This one's good, this one's good. These two are a little off. But unless you're looking for it, you'll never really even notice it. Keeps the monsters out. Also, there's a setting in Valheim Plus that says that mobs can't do damage to your property. I did have a skeleton surprise and a couple of trolls while I was building, nice enough to pay me a visit and try to tear down my house. So the fence now is mob proof and they can come beat on it all they want to. They can't damage it. That's the original part of the house that we've been building so far with the log sticking out. That's just different decoration. Most people don't think to do that. That's the ceilings, kind of like what we built before. Same thing in here. I didn't put X's in them or anything. Where I hid all of my rested bonus stuff is up in here. You see I sloped that ceiling. I flipped these floors, then I sloped this one to give me an angle, to give me enough room to put this in. These are signs, just signs. Take and flip it to where the words are away from you. And you can line them up and actually make, well, the guy I'll post his video makes lots of stuff out of these, but he makes what he calls smooth walls, which is basically what I'm doing. The only thing you have to keep in mind, for instance, those Surtling trophies up above me to the right, there's probably 100 of them up there, as well as the trophy mounts, as well as all the signs. Each one of those is a sign. And then you got the beams that I've added below. So we've probably added 250 to 300 items to this one area. Now, considering most people aren't running with state-of-the-art graphic cards, I'm actually mining Raven coins right now while I'm playing the game, but I have a decent machine. This may severely affect you as far as your ability to load and even just move around the game. My buddy just bought a new computer. His old computer was probably 3 or 4 years old. He couldn't come anywhere near my base. He would lag really, really bad. And now that he's got a decent machine, he's actually got a really good machine. He doesn't have any problems moving around. And that was my old base. And the old base really doesn't, well, give me a second and I'll show you what the old base was. A lot of people aren't into building, and I get that. But there's so many things you can do even if you weren't using a mod that just can make so much of a difference in the way your house looks. Trim out your windows. That's probably a huge difference in just the way your house looks. Something just as simple as that. No mod required. Makes it look so much better. If you want to go a step further, you could always add another layer to it. And again, this is no mod. Just to give it some depth. Something as simple as just trimming out a window can make it look that much better. Add a header to your door. That's the problem. So this would be a mod only thing, because I can take this and raise it just a little bit so you don't bump your head on it. Things like the ends of walls, you can sure throw a piece of wood on it to cover it up, but that's what you end up with, a piece of covered wood. Why not throw a second layer on it? Let's go for the bottom. Not holding shift or anything, not using a mod. Or take it a step further and put one on the outside. Now I'm holding shift. That looks so much better as a finished wall, as an end. So much better. You can cover it in core wood. I mean, just put a pole on there, cover it up. That usually goes a little better than that, but let's double up on the core wood. You're not going to sit in there real pretty, are you? So this would be one reason that you'd use a mod. That looks so much better. Of course, you'd finish it all the way around, do all sides of it. But if you've got the mod, make sure it sits right the first time. Simply doing this. Oops. That alone looks better, and that's only one pole. So if you're actually farming materials, it'd save you some time. You trim that out in wood if you wanted to. Right, now I'm having to use shift again. And like I say, I get it. Some people aren't in the building. This isn't their thing. But if you are, or if you're just trying to get more content out of the game, I mean, we've beat all the bosses. Most of us have. We've built houses, built villages. Hell, some people have built cities. But those people are generally the ones that have a keen eye for attention. Just as simple as that. That took the mod, that little square, but the rest of this didn't. Look what a difference in the ceiling it makes. A lot of people don't like the look of ironwood, and you can cover it with core wood mostly. It'll look a whole lot better. But when you get to a horizontal piece, it doesn't always work out. Take this one for instance. Probably have to go up top to do this. There's just no way, even with shift, that it wants to sit just right. So I'll show you a little trick. Since I haven't built a ladder, I will use fly. But I'll show you a little trick I've learned. If you throw another piece of ironwood down on top of it, it gives you a new snap point. Let's start down here. It gives you a new snap point that your core wood can go to, and then it'll line up correctly. So just adding one more snap point made that much of a difference. And for some reason it only works on the, or you need to use it on the horizontal pieces where you don't on the vertical ones. So now once you've got that piece down, you can continue them over. Probably should have started with that end. No more ironwood. Not so tough to do. Like I say, the vertical pieces always seem to come out just fine. Now the only problem with this, well, there's one, but that usually doesn't turn out like that. The only problem with this is if you're not under a roof, all the wood ages and you can't repair the ironwood below it. Now if you're being attacked by mobs and they're hitting the outside wood, well, they're going to have to work their way through it first before they can get to the inside wood, if that makes any sense. So they're going to have to work their way up through this core wood, and once that breaks, then you're going to have the ironwood below that, but that ironwood's going to be at 50% because the weather is going to cause the wood to all, I guess, decay, rot, whatever, and there's no way to repair it. So just something to keep in mind. The house back on my server that you guys saw is very much a work in progress. It was just thrown together. Well, the core of the house wasn't thrown together, but the walls and all. I just wanted to fill space. I just wanted to get it closed in, weather tight, and then worry about making something out of the walls later. And then I ended up getting stuck on working with the ceilings and the floors. And it took on a whole life of its own. That pond took, 3 hours, 4 hours probably. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get it covered up for right now. Take it back to about the same space that the other house is currently. Don't go all the way to the ceilings here because I'm actually going to drop this ceiling down. Nobody wants to see the nasty thatch sticking through the ceiling or anything like that. Oh goody. It shouldn't bother me, I'm in ghost mode. There they are. That'll piss him off. I don't even know why they're around here. But let's make sure they're not tearing up any of my other projects. Nope, I guess that was the end of that. So I've got to do something with this ceiling. No, they're back. Like I say, they shouldn't bother me if I'm not visible. He'd already taken damage. Must be a goblin around here. Or was. Okay. That sneak attack is nice. Well, they're just gonna keep coming. What are you fighting with? Nah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he could have handled himself. So, let's do something with this ceiling. Well, I guess I could lay across this way. That'll give me something to nail floor tiles to. Cool. Somehow you got sunk further up in the ceiling, it looks like. Maybe not. May just be me. A lot of red up there. Good thing we're covering it up. There are times that I had to throw a wall or a floor down on my ceiling or on my walls just so I could get high enough to do exactly what I just did. Yeah, that one didn't snap break. Sometimes these things can be so particular. So what I would do in this case on a regular server. Just throw up a couple walls. What the hell are you doing? Get out of my base. Just so you can get up here closer to it. Okay. I don't think that's going to be low enough. So I think I'll come down another layer. Hold shift. Drop one on there. Reason is I want to do that same circling trophy light bar. So I need a little bit of a drop. Gets a lot easier when they're sticking down like that and they're a little more pronounced. If you guys see me lagging like that, it's because I'm mining coins at the same time I'm playing. Usually it doesn't affect me enough to where I'm willing to shut off the miner. And I showed you guys how to use the mod to flip the ceilings down on the floor below, just so it's a little smoother. You don't see the supports in the middle of them. I won't do that again up here, but I will change the time of day. I won't do it all over again, but you guys get the idea. Now I'll run 2 layers of ceiling here, just to get the drop that I want to put that little shelf in. What are you guys tearing up? Oops. Stop tearing up my shit. Get out of my yard. I could have put another layer of wood on top of there, but I think that would have dropped it just a little too much for what I'm trying to do. That one actually looks like it's already dropped down to the same level. I think I'll go with that. So, I want to add a small shelf down here. I reckon I could use the 1x. The 1x. Actually, I think I'll turn it this way. Sometimes you aim it at the floor and it helps a little bit. How many people were just betting that I was fixing to walk off the floor? Give yourself some room. So now I place the item stands. This thing is so touchy. Now I'll use signs. Can't see the 3 dots. Yeah, they are. So I want them to face this way. Alright, guess I need to stay up there. So touchy. I believe I actually dropped mine down to overlap from the side like this at my house. And I may have had a ceiling a little lower than the signs. Don't remember exactly. This makes more sense though, because they'd be more exposed. Let me get some Surtling trophies and I'll be right back. Alright, let's go place those. Guess I should have thought of that, huh? That's right, I think all these are too high. I think I should have gone much lower. If you're farming everything legitimately too, these startling trophies are not hard to come by. Take and find a spawn point in the swamps where they spawn and dig all the area around it out until it's full of water. Then every time you leave the area out of render distance and come back, you'll spawn new startlings. So if you can find 2 or 3 of their spawn points in a swamp, dig all 3 of them out and then just keep running from one to the next, back and forth. And they'll spawn in anywhere from 2 to 4 each, I believe. I think I've seen as many as 4, but I know I've seen 3. So they'll continuously spawn them for as long as you want to farm them. Yeah, much lower was the better idea. You know, people make videos like these. I do anyway, I'm sure a lot of them do. Mainly to give you guys ideas of what's possible. And they want you to improve on those ideas, or not just duplicate them. Do something a little better or improved, or make it your own. I certainly don't have any problem with anybody using my ideas. To make something better out of them. That's more or less what you see at my house. So let's make the slanted floor. Why does that look so bad? Let's just cover it up. I didn't try to perfect everything. Not by any means. I just wanted to get something out there. Because it literally took me hours to build my house. And I can't imagine anybody wanting to sit through a video that's hours long. Let's see, go snap here. No. I'm going to use the mod here just to make this Nice clean transition. So now I'm going to flip one ceiling over. Then I'm going to tilt that ceiling up. Oh, guess I won't be doing it from this direction. Okay. Actually, I can probably get away with a 1 square on this. So close. I think I'll run with that, and then I can add more to it. So let's save that, set it, make another one. It looks so crooked. You see the gap, oops, right here. Easy to clean up, especially with the mod, and you've got to use the mod to do this part anyway, so I assume that you guys are going to be using the mod if you duplicate this. Take it, set that there, raise it up. just a little bit. Let's see if we can get them to snap to it from there. Didn't quite set it out far enough. Let's do that again, because I can set it down far enough to where I don't have to keep doing this. See, it's not really that big a deal to leave a gap somewhere. Let's throw another one up top and really close this off. This one I'll have to duplicate every time. But this one's fairly easy. Nice clean look. And you get your light. So that should help some people. I mean, I can go through the tedious process of finishing the whole thing, but you get the idea from there. Let's see what else I can show you guys about what I built on the other house.